here's a real neat idea to maybe do something different with your photos, where you create an image for your desktop on your computer, but you put a little calendar on it. Okay, it's really easy to do. So the first thing that you'll want to do is start out with your photo. Okay, open up your photo and resize it to whatever dimensions that you have your desktop resolution set at. Okay, so you make the photo the size of your desktop. That's the first step. Once you get it there, all right, now you're inside Photoshop. What you want to do here is go and take your rounded rectangle tool, okay, and up in the top options bar, you want to click on that leftmost icon here. It's called Shape Layers. So I'm going to go ahead and select that one. And then under radius, you want to make sure you have a high enough setting to where the edges of that rectangle are going to be rounded. So about 11 pixels works pretty good for anything that's going to be the size of something you put on your desktop. As you get to the higher resolutions, if you have a huge monitor, you might want to bump that up maybe 15 pixels or something like that. And then what we're going to do here is take our rounded rectangle tool, and I'm just going to click and drag and just draw a nice little rounded rectangle. You can use your space bar, move it around, and you kind of want to pick an empty area to put it in. So that's why I'm putting it over here on the left hand side. Okay, and that creates a rectangle right onto the canvas here. The reason why you can see through it is because I've done this before and I already set the opacity at 50%. So that kind of gives you a hint to the next step here, which is take your opacity and drop it down so you can see through it. I find that 50% is a pretty good value for most photos I've done this on. Okay, now the next thing is you've got to get your text on there. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is start off, and let's go actually start off with our type tool here. And let's set our foreground color to black, and I'm just going to type on here. Let's just type, since we're starting, let's just do February. And then 2008. Let me zoom in a little for us here. And what I'll do here is let's go ahead and just select the 2008, and I'm going to go ahead and set that to, let's go ahead and set it to bold. Okay. And then use your move tool here and just take it and put it right down in there. And you can give black worked well here, but if I double click on it, I can come up here and I can change the color. Let's see how white, and white looks pretty good too actually. So let's go with white on this one. All right, so February 2008. Now the next thing you're gonna do is you've got to get the dates on there. Monday, Tuesday, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to however many days in the month. And you could just take your type tool and just click and type 1 and then type 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and you can go that route. Another way I suggest to do it, and I'm going to do it the Mac way first, and then I'll tell you about how to do it if we're on Windows, but another way I suggest here is on the Mac, I'm just going to hit F12, and that's going to bring up all my little widgets that I have here, and I have a calendar widget. Okay, so there's a keyboard shortcut for you to be able to select something and just copy something that's on the screen. All right, it's Command, Shift, Control, and the number 4. Okay, and you can see how my cursor kind of looks a little different. Well, now I just click. Actually, I'm going to escape out of here. Let's jump forward to February 1st anyway. So now I'm going to hit Command, Control, Shift, 4, and let's just go ahead and select the calendar. Okay, and what that did is it copied whatever I just selected. It copied that to my clipboard. So now when I come in here and if I just do Command V and I paste it, see how it pastes it right on there. Okay, and now I'll just move it into place. Now, obviously you can see it looks really, really bad. So what you do is you change your blend mode from normal to screen. And you see what happens there? See, it drops out all the black and it keeps all the white. And that's kind of does all the work for us. All right, so it's an easier way to go about creating the calendar instead of creating all of the months. And the one last thing you might have to do here, you see, because today actually is the 1st, when I'm creating this video, that is, it is the 1st. So I'm just going to copy and paste that 1, and I'm going to take it, move it up here. Make sure you change that blend mode to screen. And I'm going to take it and just kind of move it into place over the one that was yellow over there. So that way that one doesn't look off, because this is going to be on your desktop. And at this point you can just go and save this image and then you can do a search. Probably the best thing to do is if you don't know how to do it, just do a search on your computer's help file for how to set your desktop image. But it's usually going to be in your system preferences or your desktop properties. Okay, now one of the things I did is I promised you how you would do this on Windows, and before I do that, let me just take a look here at another image, because in that image I used white. You could just as easily come in here, create yourself that rounded rectangle, double click on the shape layer over here, and then just go sample a color from the image. So here I sampled green, and then drop that opacity down and come inside here. Let me go in and just select my calendar again. So we'll select the calendar, go back into Photoshop and paste it in. We'll drag it into place here. Change that blend mode down to screen, and that gets rid of it as well. So it looks nice if you use another color, but it's a color that's part of the photo. And the cool thing about this rounded rectangle is I can press Command or Control T, go into Free Transform, and I can resize it as well. So if I made it too big to start with, I can make it smaller later on. All right, so that's how you go about making the calendar. Now, I showed you the shortcut where if you press F12 on the Mac, it brings up where you have all your widgets, and I have a calendar widget. Well, if you're on Windows, what you can do is in the bottom right-hand side of your taskbar, you're going to see your date and your time. Okay, if you double-click on that, it's going to open up your date and time properties, and that'll open up a calendar. And you can do the same thing, just hit Alt and print screen, and that'll copy it to the clipboard, and then you can go into Photoshop and you can paste it in and do everything we did here. The only difference is I think on Windows it has a white background. Remember this one here, it's got a black background. Okay, so I use screen to make it transparent. If it's got a white background, use multiply, and that'll make it transparent. So that's the only difference between the two, but it's another way to keep yourself from having to go in there and type in all the numbers every single time. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it. It's a real nice, kind of a neat idea to start off each month. Use a photo that you have, whether it's of a family member or just a really nice landscape. Use a photo that you've got and put a calendar on it and put it onto your desktop, and just a quick way to see what date you're on.